everybody. This is Marco Amai on the Patriot Torch. Huge things happening right now about the coronavirus and a huge infringement of our rights, and that's what I wanted to break down and focus on right now today. Is that while the shutdown is going down, while this is happening with the lockdowns and businesses shutting down, all of this is a violation of our First Amendment, okay? This is really important. Now, a lot of people are not fully ingrained with the rights that we have and understanding what rights even mean, okay? The First Amendment includes the right to peaceable assembly and the freedom of religion, both of which are being infringed in the name of safety in quarantines. So you can't the pastors of Christian churches are being arrested right now. Rodney Howard-Browne, he's from Florida. He got arrested because he's holding services like normal churches do, right? Just hold a service. But because of the whole coronavirus, now it's illegal for him to hold a service because of how many people are there. Now, that's against the Constitution, folks. You can't tell people that they can't get together and then get arrested or fined if they do get together, because the First Amendment openly protects that. And there is nothing in the Constitution says that you can the government can just decide at any point how many people are allowed to be together. That's completely illegal and unconstitutional. And there's no medical basis as to decide whether you can be with 10 people, 15 people, or 5 people, or 2 people. There's no basis for that. It's just completely just decided by who's ever in power, and is illegal. So that's really important for people to understand, because rights are not privileges. Rights, you don't just have rights and then whenever a virus comes around or some kind of a crisis comes around, then you have to lose all your rights and you can't assemble in churches and you can't be outside. You start doing that, that means you don't have any rights. If you can lose your rights during a crisis, that means you have no rights, because the whole point of having a right is that it never goes away. And that's why the Constitution specifically says that we are endowed by certain rights by the Creator of the universe, by God. It's not something that governments give us the right to do. No, it's the right that we're born with from creation. Just like freedom of speech, which is being infringed as well during this whole crisis. So that these are really important developments that we have to be careful of, because that's the governments all around the world are taking advantage of this crisis as an excuse to take people's rights away. It's just so clear that that's what's happening. I mean, in England, you can't even be with more than 2 people. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And so that's why this is important, so that we understand what rights are and that we fight for our rights. And if you get arrested, okay, for going to a church service, then you should be proud of that, because that means you're standing up for our rights. You're not just backing down and cowering in the corner just because, now they're cracking down, so now we can't be together, and I'm just going to follow whatever stupid tyrannical rule is created. That's really dangerous. That's really dangerous for people to accept that as a normal thing. Like, that's okay, because that means that you have no rights if you're able to just give them up whenever the government says so. Okay? You like, for example, a tyrannical state that is completely evil and wants to take away people's rights. Well, if everyone's just going to give up their rights for a virus, that means that they can just release viruses whenever they freaking want to, and that means no one ever has rights. Because every time a virus comes around, you say, no, you can't go outside, you can't meet up in churches. Only we decide which businesses stay open. That's ridiculous. You can't do that. Because if you decide only, it's funny because all these small businesses, right, they're all running out of money and they're all shut, a lot of them are shut down, they're never going to open again. But guess what? All the big globalist, super rich corporations, they're the ones that stay open. Oh, Walmart, Target, you know what's in your local city, the ones that are open, the big ones, right? They stay open. They're the ones already making more money than everyone else, right? They're making more money than basically a lot of people, but they're the ones that have to stay open. And all the small businesses are not allowed to stay open because they're not essential, and churches are not essential. Essential is not something that the governments have a right to decide what is essential and what isn't. There's nothing in the Constitution that says that can happen. That's ridiculous. That's why Planned Parenthood is open and still running and killing babies. That's not essential, but the government says it is. Okay, so we're just supposed to accept that. But churches are not open. Okay, so Planned Parenthood kills babies right now as we speak. But a guy that is a preacher of a Christian church can't have a service talking about God, and he gets arrested. Now that's insane. That is completely, obviously, it's not an equal application of the rules. Oh, yeah, everyone, 90% of people, you can't get together, and you can't be together because of this quarantine. Oh, but you can go to Walmart and meet up with hundreds of other people every day and buy their stuff and use all your money to buy stuff from Walmart. But you can't go to a church. You can't do that. See, that's not an equal application of the law. That's completely just ridiculous. You can just tell just with logic that doesn't make sense, that you can't do that and that can't be legal. But if people continue to accept it and continue to give up their rights in the name of safety, yes, we're going to end up in a frickin' tyrannical state, police state, where we don't have any rights, and it's always whatever the government says at the time that they say it, and that's the rules, and you can't fight back. That's not good. That's not good. And if you want to talk about the stimulus package, right? Yeah, it's free money, and so it's kind of a socialist thing. Yeah, that's the problem, is that this whole shutdown is forcing people to depend on the government for help to be able to survive, right? So I'm gonna cash in the check. It's free money. The government taxes me like crazy, and they give me some money back, great. But that's not the direction I want to go in, because I know that these types of events are going to create dependency on the government. It's conditioning people to rely on the government to help them in a crisis, instead of relying on themselves and their own rights and being prepared for a crisis. You see what I'm saying? This is conditioning people. It's not good. This is a globalist operation. It's happening all over the world. It's not just America. It's happening all over the world. And in other countries even worse, way worse, as far as dependency on the government. You know, what happens when we keep relying on the government, and government has to provide everything and have all this universal income and all this crap? Then we lose our rights. Because look how we're losing our rights right now with the lockdown and depending on the government. That's the problem with this situation, okay? China is an enemy of our country, and there is evidence that they made this virus, engineered it, and released it because it came from Wuhan, and right in Wuhan there's a biosafety level 4 laboratory that makes viruses. So the chances of that being completely an accident, completely unintentional, right before the election of Trump, and China hates America and Trump, and it's affecting America's economy. And this just all these things happening at the same time is just very unlikely that it's just a coincidence, an accidental event. Okay, so China, you have these viruses. If this is man-made, then it's also logical to make a prediction that it's possible that they could do this again. That even maybe another country could do this. This type of thing can happen again. So every time a virus comes out, are we just going to roll over and give up all of our rights and our First Amendment to assemble and to have freedom of religion and to have freedom of speech? Are we just going to give all that up every time there's a crisis, just in the name of safety? See, that's how you lose your rights, is because the government and the world governments, they all convince people to give up their rights because we're going to protect you. We're the solution, and that's all bullcrap. The solution has always been in the American way, which is to have freedom and you have your rights that are permanent, that never go away under any circumstances whatsoever. That's what a right is. It's not a privilege. A privilege is given and taken away whenever. That's not what a right. That's not what a right is. Okay. And what's interestingly happening right now is the Trump recently was talking about hydroxychloroquine because it's been used in the past to treat viral diseases like malaria and stuff, right? So it's logical to be like, this could work. What if we tried this? What if we did that? So then you have InfoWars, American news organization that's just talking about this, covering it on the news, like, oh, hey, Trump's talking about hydroxychloroquine, blah blah blah. They get banned by Google Play. Now Apple already banned them a while ago. Google now banned them for that. So now it's undownloadable. Their app is undownloadable. Then just for saying the exact same thing that Trump said, they get banned. Laura Ingraham of Fox, she tweets about the hydroxychloroquine, that she gets banned. Rudy Giuliani tweets about it, he gets banned. You have, what was the other one? The Brazilian president Bolsonaro tweets about hydroxychloroquine. He's saying that it's working, and he gets banned. And then the government of New York, Cuomo, bans it from being able to be used. And same with the governor of Nevada. So you have this big tech cartel, Facebook, Twitter, Google, they're all working at the same time, banning all these people talking about potential cures or potential treatments of the virus, of the coronavirus. Isn't that just suspicious? That they're banning anyone talking about these potential cures. I mean, that is just ridiculous. First of all, you have the freedom of speech to be able to talk about this stuff. Plain and simple. It's like saying that vitamin C is good for you. It's just talking about stuff that people know about. That's essential. You have to have that speech. You can't just be like, oh, you can't talk about potential cures and potential treatments because that's not approved or whatever the crap that is. I mean, what are you going to do? Just roll over to whatever they tell you is you're supposed to talk about? Because that's the way they want to train you to be an obedient dog that just does whatever it's told without experimenting, without having ideas, they want you to be a clone that just obeys and just kneels down and licks their boots. And, that's why I don't like the big tech cartel and their social media monopoly they have about banning all these people for their free speech. It's ridiculous. But it also points to the direction of, that means that these types of treatments are probably going to work. Because why would you ban people like that? Why would you ban ideas like that? It's because you probably know it's going to work, because there is an incentive for Democrats and the leftists and the globalists that hate nationalism and Trump and everything that nationalists stand for, and like individual rights. They hate Trump so much that they're definitely willing to continue to destroy our economy in order to make Trump look bad and blame it on Trump, okay, so that they have a better chance of winning the next election. That's definitely possible, because the Democrats have been saying that they wish the economy would go down soon so that they can get Trump out of there, because it makes him look bad. So what makes them not want to promote the heck out of the virus getting worse and worse and worse and having no cures and no treatment so that it gets worse and it destroys the economy? That's something that the Democrats definitely have an incentive and motive to do. I could totally see them doing that. And that's probably is what they're doing. Especially because they're shutting down in the big blue cities the Democrat run. They're shutting down everything. Businesses are shut down. People are losing jobs because of the shutdown. Because I understand people are caring about old people. That's good. But look, no one's forcing old people to go out. If you're scared of the virus, you're not forced to go outside. You can just stay home with your free will to stay home and be isolated. There's no need for this whole arrest you if you get out and arrest you if you go to the church, and if you arrest you and you can only go here and only certain businesses are allowed to be open. That's ridiculous. That's insane and unconstitutional and illegal. All you had to do is have the old people stay home and just recommend that. You don't have to have all the young people that are not at very low risk of getting sick off of it, for all of them to be staying home and without jobs and without paying for everything. Because guess what that leads to? Depression People don't have money. People starve. The Great Depression last time killed a bunch of people. So because of starvation. That can happen. That can happen if this continues. If everything's shut down, it's logical that that would happen. So that's my message, is that it's important not to give up our rights and to make sure we are aware of that, these attacks on our rights, because then we're able to prevent more things that are happening in the future and to prepare for more crisis events, knowing that our rights could get infringed as they are being infringed now, and to stand up and talk about it and reach out to people and make people realize it and not just bow down just like sheep being told what to do whenever there's a crisis. We can't have that mentality. So this is America. This is American way of thinking, is to have individual rights as priority, not the government telling us what to do. So thank you for listening. Spread the message. Stay vigilant, Americans that love freedom and God. And I'll see you in the next one.